evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the world of V-Gaming Junkie News. The dross was purified in the divine light, so there's nothing but pure gaming-related meatiness. It's all about the electronic good stuff as we dive deep in all that's new in the various interactive virtual worlds. We start things off with one whopper of a news story. It seems CDPR Red's data has been compromised. As of the 9th, a hacking group has claimed to compromise their servers, gaining access to the source codes for The Witcher 3, including an unreleased version, Gwent and Cyberpunk 2077. Naturally, they've demanded a ransom to not release these source codes. CDPR Red, for their part, has refused to cooperate with a ransom note, which if you ask me is kind of respectable. You do have to recognize the kind of conviction it takes to say no to such a threat. While they've been making some very big missteps lately, I can side with them here. Putting people's personal data at ransom is just dirty, and giving into it will surely only make them targets in the future. So in other news, BioWare has announced their intentions to remove some spicy camera angles that were previously in Mass Effect from the Legendary Edition, which many see as an act of censorship. Honestly, I can kind of understand where they're coming from, given that BioWare felt the need to announce it like they want a pat on the back for their brave and courageous efforts against those evil butt shots. I think they would have been much better off just making it an option for people who don't want to see it while leaving it there for people who do. Although if it was me, I'd edit shots of the male characters to focus on their butts as well, because I'm a big believer in equality. While this may seem like a silly thing to complain about in and of itself, although that makes you wonder why they bothered removing it in the first place, the problem is the principle of the matter. You let a few butt censors slide, and then all of a sudden it actually affects something important like a vital plot point that some people have deemed bad, because it never ends there. I don't believe in forcing a change in the name of moral outrage, and believe the people who complained about such content in the first place just need to learn to turn the other cheek. On the subject of censorship, it seems Ubisoft is considering a change to the name of their game, Rainbow Six Quarantine, in the face of the pandemic. If you ask me, I think they should keep the name as is. If nothing else, it can serve as a way to poke fun of everything that's going on, which we desperately need right now. If we've reached the point where such an innocent word is worthy of sparking outrage, then that honestly doesn't bode well for our future. Whatever happened to Star Trek's message of learning not to fear words, we'll never reach that utopia if we keep sliding in the other direction. At long last, as of the 9th at least, Steam has finally released in China with only 53 games and no community features. While this probably isn't a shocker to anyone, I think this shows where the natural outcome of such innately ridiculous censorship leads. This is the truest form of that kind of mentality where everything has to be curated and you're not allowed to talk to anyone lest you start inspiring unimproved ideas amongst each other. I know that in this day and age it has become some super controversial thing, but I'm a fan of more speech over less speech. If there's someone with terrible or even hateful ideas, let them speak and then crush their points with superior speech. All you do by censoring is drive those with toxic ideas into the underground where they fester unchallenged like a community of cockroaches. Not to mention the Streisand effect is one seriously frightening instrument if it works against you. Instead of proving to the village idiot that you fear his words, prove that what he's saying is crazy. And because I love biting the hand that feeds me, this next story is about Google. Specifically, the Terraria creator cancels Google Stadia port after actually calling business dealing with Google a liability. I kid you not, Andrew Spinks actually said Google doesn't value their partners or customers and that they were burning a bridge deliberately because of accusations of violations of TOS. As if the Google Stadia needed another nail in its coffin, and as if Google needed to look any worse in the eyes of the public. This is actually an effective argument against companies being too big, because they seem to always start going mad with power and need to learn a little humility. No matter how big you are, your customers make or break you, and they are the reason for your success. Those who forget that tend to have a very Roman experience, financially speaking of course. This news so far has been a lot of negatives, so I'm finally going to have some more light news stories. Epic has created a tool that they call the Metahuman Creator, allowing people to create photorealistic faces in a browser. Supposedly, users can freely download the model, have it be fully rigged, and get into other programs. They'll certainly be taking a crack at it because it seems pretty cool, and I suspect it'll have a lot of integration into the Unreal Engine. For all of Epic's numerous faults, this seems like a genuinely nifty program for allowing creativity within a community, so credit where credit is due. So it would seem Playtonic Games is creating a publishing studio and has already signed in On Interactive, Vibraz, and Okidoko into the mix. For those unfamiliar with Playtonic Games, they're the people who made Yooka-Laylee. You know, that ambitious but pretty heavily flawed collectathon game. Anyway, they call this studio Playtonic Friends and seems to be looking to sign more companies into the fold. Anything that adds some desperately needed competition to publishing companies like EA, Activision, and Ubisoft, who have made some less than favorable decisions lately, is always a net positive. If they compete for your dollar, you can expect better products out of it. I hope this leads to more quality across the gaming space, or at least serves as an amusing what not to do. Either way, I wish Playtonic the best of fortune in their endeavor. Last but certainly not least, it seems Kingdom Hearts is finally coming to PC. And it seems the full series is included. According to Game Informer, this includes Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Fatal Chapter Prologue, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Kingdom Hearts Melody and Memory. That's essentially the whole package right there, including the lesser-known titles that still contribute heavily to the plot, and it's good to see a previously console-exclusive franchise come to PC. Now maybe we can get Bloodborne next. Hint hint from Software, I would love to be able to play the good old Victorian England Soulsborne game. Oh well, I've still got Dark Souls 3 to gawk and be sucky at, and I look forward to Kingdom Hearts. I might actually get back into it. I remember live streaming some of the first one and let's playing some of 358/2, and I had some fun with that. And as always, from Games Radar's own page, it's time for the next week's round of release dates. Not a whole lot of releases in this upcoming week, but there's still something. Starting off, 30XX releases for PC on the 17th. The 18th sees King of Seas for the old Band of Four, as well as the Protagonist X1 and Ultimate Add-on Caverns of Chaos for PC. Again, not a whole lot, but at least it's something. This week's epic freebie until next Thursday is Halcyon 6 Starbase Commander, a strategy RPG in space. It's actually giving me a Star Trek vibe. You better pay attention though, because the next one will be a 2-4 and one of them is actually pretty big. And as always, that rounds out this news week. I truly hope you enjoyed and were well enough informed. As always, I Let's Play every single day, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m, live stream Mondays and Fridays unless otherwise specified at 4:30 p.m, and these news programs are Sundays at 6 p.m. Naturally, that's Eastern Standard Time, but you can always subscribe and dramatically ring that bell icon if you don't want to have to worry about keeping track of it. As always, a like is appreciated for the algorithms, but I just hope you genuinely enjoyed it. That is it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Spread this video around like the wrath of the Nameless King, and I'll see you next time. Now go out there and capitalize on life. Peace out, have a good one, and I'll see you next week.